All right, for today's Newbie Bite, we are on the command line here in my terminal emulator. Last time we talked about errors. An error is when your code actually stops running. Today, we're going to talk about failing tests. When you fail a test, it means that your code actually ran, it just didn't do what you expected it to do. I think this will make a lot more sense if we have an example. I've already created Python file called simple calculator. And when you open it up, the entire program is a single function, and all it does is it adds two numbers together. Here I've opened up the test that I've already written previously. Newbie Byte is not about learning how to write tests. It's about understanding the output or the feedback from tests. So if all of this doesn't make perfect sense yet, don't worry about it. Just focus on the output that we get from the test. Step number one, I import the simple calculator module. Then down here, I have a test function, and I'm saying the actual value is going to be the result of using simple calculator.add 3 and 7. The expected value that I should get from this is 10. And here at PyBytes, we always try to put the actual value on the left-hand side and the expected value on the right-hand side. Notice that this is not strictly necessary for the test to work. Could have called these things anything other than actual and expected. I can use any label that I want, but we try to be consistent and we always try to put the actual first, the expected second, so that way when you're reading through all of your tests, there's a little bit of consistency there. So we've seen the original file, we've seen the test file. Let's go run PyTest. In order to do that on the command line, you simply type in the word PyTest. I'm going to pass in a couple extra flags just so it gives us extra information. You never really have to worry about this top part. This tells me what I actually did. I ran the file called testcalc.py. I ran the test, which was called test_add, and I passed the test. So our code for the add function is working great. Let me go back into that simple calculator and let's add a second function. So I come here, I copy this. Now, I don't want to have a second function that does the exact same thing. So I'm going to change this to subtract. And there we go. Now I have a function that subtracts two numbers. Let's go ahead and edit the test calculator. And we're going to do something similar here. So we're going to say copy. But instead of testing the add, we're going to go to subtract. And again, don't worry about building the test with me right now. So now if I subtract 10 and 7, I expect that I should get an answer of 3. So let's go ahead and format this quickly. And let's go back to the command line. This time when we run PyTest, we failed this test. So you can see the output from the test is right here. Our actual was simple calculator.subtract 10 and 7. We expected a value of 3. Here you can see that we have an assertion error, and it said 17 is equal to 3. So this 17 is because this is the value that we got from calling the function, and the 3 came from the expected value of 3. So it looks to me like when I called the subtract function, instead of actually subtracting, it added them. And if you were paying close attention in the video, maybe you already caught on to this, but when I copied and pasted the two functions, I purposely forgot to change this. So now I change it to a subtraction. I go run my tests, and now both of them passed. So believe it or not, this is exactly what's been happening the entire time behind the scenes. Every time you submit a PyByte, it runs tests in the background, and then it gives you some feedback. If you fail the test, well, then you have to change your code until it works. If you get an error, then your code isn't actually running yet. It hasn't even gotten to the test phase. So hopefully this makes a little bit more sense. Your goal today is to read through the code that we've already written for you and figure out what went wrong with the logic. What do you need to change in order to pass the tests? Good luck.